All right, DeAndre. Well, obviously, crazy times now, interesting times. I know I've spoken to a couple of footballers, and they're just itchy and trying to figure out how to just adjust to this time. So, what have you been up to? I see Crystal's been keeping you busy. You've been dabbling in
Yeah,
art and
yeah,
taking. So, just tell us a bit of what you've been up to.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I've been actually quite enjoying this time. I mean, obviously, other than the fact that people are dying, which is tragic, and you never ever want to be in a situation where that happens. But as far as just trying to keep myself creative and keep myself going in the house, I haven't really found any problems with that. It's given me a little bit more time to focus on my clothing brand that I'm trying to start, which was quite tough when I was in the season, just because you want to put most of your focus on, or all of your focus on your profession, which was which is football. But this time it's given me a bit more time to focus on my clothing brand. I've really been trying to find other things to get into. So yeah, I've just been keeping myself creative. We have one of my friends who actually lives down the street has been staying with us as well, Matthew, and he's a painter. So he's been doing a lot of painting in the house, and I think it's important just to keep creative people around you, just because it's the kind of person I am. So you want to surround yourself with people that are like-minded.
And then now, how close are we to actually seeing this clothing line? Because I'm ready.
Well,
My credit card ready.
yeah. Oh, trust me, I'm ready too. It's been, I actually started building the foundation of this when I was at Sunderland. So that's how long it's been. That's how long it's kind of been in the works. And it's kind of been thrown a bit off keel now, just because, obviously factories are closed and things like that. But, I think, hopefully when things reopen, then it'll get right back on. And I'm definitely making a lot of progress on, the creative side of it. So hopefully, when things reopen, we can just jump right in, and, there'll be no questions about, what this needs to look like or what this needs to look like. It'll just all be ready because we'll be prepared. But yeah, I'm extremely ready for it also. I know, a lot of people that I've spoken to are like, yo, when is this coming out? When is this coming out? But yeah, it's been slowed a bit. The process has been slowed a bit, obviously, because, of what's going on right now. And also, I think, because I came up with this idea and had this vision when I was at, it was literally 5 years ago. Trends have changed. Different things come in, obviously, to play. And I've actually enjoyed that I've taken this long with it, just because I think I'm somebody, when I get excited about something, I can rush into it, and then it doesn't come out as good as it should be. So I'm actually excited that I've taken this long with it, and hopefully when it finally does come out, it's quality.
And how would you describe the style of it, I suppose, or what to kind of expect from the pieces?
It's I'm trying to basically mix my childhood, with things that I like now, mixed with the culture. So obviously growing up in Seattle, it's a very outdoorsy kind of feel. There's a lot of nature. I always was hiking with my grandpa when I was younger. So that kind of, cargo pants, for instance, or there's definitely going to be a lot of pockets on all my stuff, because that's a very outdoorsy feel. But also kind of mixed with the culture a little bit. I'm super into the LA style, especially the hip hop LA style. I think it's super dope, and I've always kind of been intrigued by it. So that would be mixed into it. And then I wanted all my pieces to be comfortable, because especially growing up in Seattle as well, it wasn't when you wore clothing, it was you're wearing it to be warm and to be comfortable. In Seattle, it's not a huge amount of style, I would say. So I kind of wanted to make all my pieces obviously fashionable, but they also have that comfort appeal to where you could throw on something that looks super dope, but you could be going to the grocery store, you could throw it on because it's that comfortable. So that's another thing that I wanted to kind of integrate into my brand.
I mean, it takes something to move all the way to a different country, different culture, where you can feel by yourself. But we're seeing more and more players, I suppose, from just North America on a whole. Alphonso Davies spoke to, last week. He touched on just, going into a team which is Bayern Munich with legends. And he's like, yo, I'm just this kid from Canada Christian Pulisic, who, you know, before the injury, of course, was brilliant for Chelsea. I know you know him very well. You have Josh Sargent, who you've spoken to, and you yourself, you know, an American playing in the Premier League. What do you make of like what all of you guys have been doing? Do you feel like there's finally that respect for players coming from that side of the world?
100%. You know, I think it's definitely a movement that's gaining momentum. You know, obviously, you know, you had the Tim Howards and Clint Dempsey and Brad Friedel, Brian McBride. You know, those kind of players that have kind of started that for us. You know, and shown us that, and shown the rest, you know, of Europe or the world that, you know, Americans can, you know, belong over here and that there's talent there. You know, but I think for a long time it was still people wanted to be in their comfort zone, so they stayed in America. And, you know, you have to give it up to, you know, the guys like Christian Pulisic and Alphonso Davies, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and, you know, Josh Sargent, you know, that are coming over, because it's a very hard step. You know, I came over when I was 21. They came over, I think, when, you know, 17, and, you know, it's incredibly hard. You know, you haven't even graduated high school yet. So that's something that I think a lot of people don't take into, you know, into regard. It's a very tough step, and it's something that can break a lot of people. But you have to, you know, I have to tip my hat off to those guys. You know, and also those are guys they all went into a country that they didn't know the language. So that's another huge thing. Like, I didn't have to deal with the language barrier. Well, up here, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I don't be understanding what they're saying, but
the Geordie,
the Geordie accent, sometimes it sounds like a different language, but the language as a whole, I'm like, you know, if I had to go in and deal with a whole nother language, like, that's another thing that's thrown on your plate that's very hard to deal with. So, you know, my hat's off to those guys. Like, they're doing unbelievable, and, you know, it's inspiring to see what they're doing as well. And hopefully we can all, you know, lead this, you know, charge of American players coming over here, because I think, you know, as of right now, this is the best place to develop.
And then just touching on, I know you said he's your boy, of course, Christian Pulisic, and just seeing what he's doing at Chelsea. And I mean, it's been a while since I have seen, I think, the world excited about an American player, with all due respect. I mean, people in the States, hashtag on Twitter, American Messi, which is, I mean, as you said, you know, in the 60-second quiz, that's in your opinion, best player now probably ever. You know, what do you think is just so good about him, and what do you make of, I guess, his time here? Did you give him any advice or whatever before he came up to England? Because we know that a lot of eyes are on the Premier League, and it can be mentally draining too.
I think one of the best things about Christian is that he's quite humble, and that he doesn't let the hype get to his head. And that was one of the things I told him. I said, listen, you're, you know, arguably, if not, going to be the best American player of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's up here already. You know what I'm saying? But with that comes a ton of hype. I mean, you saw it with Freddie Adu. You know what I mean? And you see what happens, you know, with all due respect to Freddie Adu, like, he started very young, and he was very good at very young. But, you know, I think hype got the best of it, and then it kind of spiraled out, which, you know, it's unfortunate to see, because, you know, there's potential there. But I think hype has killed that. And one thing that Christian has done very well is, you know, kept it out of his head. You know, he's obviously gone through some difficult times at Chelsea, and you're going to go through those times. But I think for the most part, what Christian has done is inspired a whole generation of young Americans to make the moves that he's done, and you know, to play like him, which is unbelievable. I think you know, one of the things I told him is definitely watch out for the media in England, because they can kill you. they can honestly kill you. I think in America, especially him being American, more often than not, he's going to have positive press, just because of who he is and, you know, what he does for the country. But English press will look for any way to kill you. So I told him, just watch out for the press, and, you know, keep your head down, keep working hard. And obviously he knows what he should be doing. He's been doing it now for, you know, 4 years or however long he's been playing professionally. So, you know, he's on a very good path.
And then just speaking about MLS as well, just in that sense too, of course, it's grown a lot since you left just in the last, and it sees, you know, we see David Beckham now having a team in Miami, which has gotten everybody, I think, on this side of the world as well, excited to kind of go there and maybe view it as not just a quote unquote retirement league. Again, like with Jack Harrison, he says he absolutely disagrees with the fact that it's called a retirement league, but
Yeah.
it still thinks there needs to be a little bit more incentive, because here you have promotion relegation, so you literally have people fighting for their life. Do you think that that's something that MLS kind of needs before it gets to that level?
100,000,000%. I think that there's a different energy to when you win and lose a game in the MLS versus when you win and lose a game here. You know, it's that feeling that here every game matters. And in the MLS, I remember it's like literally the first game we were playing Montreal, I think, my first game playing with Seattle, and we lost. And I was like pissed off. Like, I was really frustrated. And, you know, I remember they're saying, like, don't worry about it, like this and that. And obviously now you have to keep a balance of how you react to games and losses and wins and things like that. But I remember thinking, like, how can these guys be so, like, not angry about a loss? You know what I mean? And, you know, I think that plays a part in it. I think that also plays a part in the culture with the kids there. You know, kids here are growing up knowing about relegation and how important it is, and you know, things like that. And there's just not that feel for it yet. So I think if that got introduced, I don't know, and I don't know how you do it, because you know, obviously there's financial, you know, stipulations there, everything like that. But if they could figure out a way to do that, I think the league would become much more competitive, for sure. You know, I think, yeah, I just think people would take the league a bit more seriously. I mean, I don't think it's a retirement league by any means either, but obviously that's a perspective of, you know, people over here. And so it shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? So something needs to be done so the league gets taken more seriously. And I think that would be it. That'd be a great step. But like I said, I don't know the answer of how to do that. You know, there's a lot that goes into that. So, yeah.
Would you want to kind of go back home eventually?
100%. Oh yeah. I've already said you know, I like to work out a vision for myself. I've already said I can see myself retiring in Seattle. That's hopefully what happens. I know things change and stuff changes, but that's kind of the vision that I have. I think it'd be kind of a good way to go out, you know, just to leave in the place that I started, and at home. It would be unbelievable.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.